But for internal consistency of quantum mechanics and relativity theory, there is required to be the equivalent of 10 to the 94 grams of mass energy, each gram being E equals mc squared kind of energy. Now that's a huge number, but what does it mean practically? Practically, if I can assume that the universe is flat, and more astronomical data is showing it's pretty darn flat. If I can assume that, then if I take the volume or take the vacuum within a single hydrogen atom, that's about 10 to the minus 23 cubic centimeters. If I take that amount of vacuum and I take the latent energy in that, there is 1 trillion times more energy there than in all of the mass of all of the stars and all of the planets out to 20 billion light years. That's big. That's big. And if consciousness allows you to control even a small fraction of that, creating a Big Bang is no problem.
Yes, so what is consciousness?
What is consciousness?
Well, consciousness is a very difficult thing to define.
What is consciousness? Where does it come from?
Consciousness is our mind, our immediate thinking, our thoughts this moment. Technically speaking, what is consciousness? Consciousness is an area of focused life energy activity. The brain reads the information from the focused life energy activity and performs due tasks. But the mind itself, the consciousness, is the area of focused life energy activity. Once we realize the difference between the mind and the brain, understanding our own life energy flow becomes far simpler. We can and do change the position of our own focused life energy activity of consciousness, our mind, in and around our body all of the time. Where does the energy to create the focused energy activity of consciousness, our mind, come from? The focused life energy activity of our mind is originally generated by our own heartbeat. The human body is an incredible and intricate instrument about which we know relatively little. Much of the heartbeat's energy is used to pump blood and maintain our circulatory system. A small amount of the heartbeat's energy is refined through biological energy centers, chakras, and processed into life energy dynamics, rays of thought. How is this processing done? Just like the way the energy of our car engine moves through and between a gear system, so does the life energy of our heartbeat. The DNA molecules within our spinal column and brain refine life energy from each heartbeat into energy dynamics, rays of thought. The meaning of the thought is maintained by the life energy dynamics frequency, how fast it's spinning. When the life energy dynamics intercept and interact to become part of the focused life energy activity of our mind, we are thinking the thoughts. The basic structure of the DNA molecule itself is like an energy gear. As raw energy passes through, it is transformed into life energy dynamics of various frequencies. The frequency of the thought has a particular meaning which is universally congruent. This means when I think a thought of a frequency of 345,789 Hz, and you think a thought with a frequency of 345,789 Hz, we are both thinking the same thought as part of our mind at that moment. The meaning of the thought is the same even though the language and the context of our minds at that time may be very different. Chakras are the life energy centers where life energy dynamics from the same frequency range, that is, thoughts from the same natural purpose, combine and interact to determine which thoughts need to be brought to the immediate attention of the mind and which thoughts can be allowed to flow through the natural refinement process and stored until such time as the conscious mind chooses to review the thoughts and perceptions from that moment. We think of the thoughts allowed to flow through the natural refinement process to be recovered if necessary by the conscious mind at a later time as our subconscious mind. We use our REM sleep to bring order to all of the subconscious thoughts and perceptions before storing them in our long-term memory. How does a chakra decide whether or not to disrupt our energy flow and alert the consciousness to the refinement of a certain thought? The answer is need. If the thought being sent to the chakra is about the threat of a need, the chakra will automatically disrupt the natural flow of life energy to send an urgent message to the energy activity of the mind. How does the chakra decide what is a need and what is not a pressing need and rather just another of a long list of natural desires? We decide with our own inner self-management. How does a thought about the threat of a need disrupt our life energy flow? Quite simply, the chakra will continue to process thoughts about the issue until the conscious mind can bring about the removal of the threat. The energy activity of our immediate thinking will shift from the ideal position above the crown and naturally position itself closest to the chakra generating the highest levels of energy. We spend our childhood learning that excess energy activity inside our physical body doesn't feel comfortable. The energy activity itself initiates extreme peptide reactions in the nervous system and can, over time, wreak damage to our inner organs, tissues, and muscles. We know this phenomenon in maturity as the various manifestations of stress. Learning to use our own inner self-management of needs and wants is essential, because if we don't spend time defining our natural desires as needs, the chakra system will not disrupt the life energy refinement process in the first place, and our consciousness will remain in natural harmony and balance. Learning to balance our own consciousness at will during any circumstances is the very first step towards achieving enlightenment.
How in the Ten Commandments could we have possibly created a mind that could transcend space and time? No, we're too busy keeping our emotions in check to ever dream of infinite possibilities. And maybe that is the ultimate conspiracy.